Welcome back to my channel, everyone. I've just finished filming my sunset over blue waters tutorial, and it's more like a get ready with me. You know, I'm not an expert. I think it's obvious to anyone watching my videos that I'm not, and it's just using really summery colours, and I've been enjoying this look for summer. So if you'd like to see how I achieved this look, please keep watching. Okay, so I just thought it'd be a great opportunity to do a tutorial or get ready with me whilst I've got a bit of a blemish going on, because I don't usually get them. So I'm just pointing out that blemish, and I'm going to do my best to cover it up with makeup. And first I'm using my L'Oreal Micellar water. Now I know that it's not actually pronounced micellar, it's an in-joke, I can't help myself. I say cellular tape as well as telecellotape. Don't ask me why, it's a long story. I've got my Clarins SPF 30 Eye Contour Anti-Wrinkle sort of cream. It's anti-wrinkle in the sense that it stops sun damage, but it's not like a firming product. And then my Nivea facial moisturizer, which is my go-to face cream at the moment. It's not got any SPF in it, so it's great for when you're having photos. I'm going to be going too much out in the sun today, so I'm not going to be using any additional SPF on my face because my foundation's got 18 in it, and that'll do me for what I need today. I'm just using now the tea tree oil 100% from Superdrug. Now I know you're not supposed to use it directly on your face undiluted, but I do because it works for me. And then going in with my Match Perfection Rimmel. Now I'm shaking this up in the video just to show you and to remind myself to mention, because I didn't shake the last bottle of this I had up, and I couldn't work out why it was really perfect for the skin at first, matching up, and then near the end of the product, at the last third of the bottle, was too dark. So I also showed you my lovely new makeup brush holder, which I made out of an old candle, and I'm buffing in my foundation with my e.l.f. powder brush. Now I don't really stipple it on because I don't want too heavy a finish. I'm just literally buffing it on to give a quite a natural sort of tinted moisturiser look. And then I've got my NW15 Studio Finish Max Concealer with a QVS concealer and foundation brush, which I just use for concealer. Now I find this particular concealer really good for under the eyes, but you have to apply it really carefully because it is very thick and you don't want it to crease. But it's got like salmony pinkish undertones, so I put it underneath and also in the inner corner where I've got bluish tones when I've not been having enough sleep, which is the case at the moment. And I'm just dabbing that in with my hand and going over with my Heathy mix Bourjois concealer. I'll list all the products in the description bar with the colours that I'm using as well. Now this is a concealing corrector highlighter sort of situation, so it does everything, and you have to blend it in straight away or else it does go streaky. So I'm using the You're Bluffing Benefit product here, which is like a yellow based cream which does counteract any redness just over my blemish, and then covering up with the Maximum Concealer e.l.f. concealer, and I'm using my Real Techniques Deluxe crease brush to buff that in. I'm doing the same around the blemishes I've got around my jawline and neck because I've recently had a bit of a reaction to spraying some perfume, and so I'm just trying to cover that up a little bit around there, and just using the same brush and using my sleek eyebrow kit as my mirror, which I'll be using later. Oh, I'm using it now. So this is in light. I'm actually waiting for the one to come out at e.l.f. in ash, which I think probably be a better match for me, but I'm getting on with this at the moment. I do feel it's a bit dark, and I don't use the wax, I just use the powder, which is exactly the same as Max Omega, but actually works out cheaper even if you just throw the wax away. So I'm using this with my Real Techniques brow brush and smoothing it out with my finger. Okay, so next we're going to be using the e.l.f. there as a base and primer to my eyeshadow. That colour is in Sheer. It's rubbed off, so I didn't show it to you, but I find that quite good for making you conceal your eyeshadow last longer. Now this I've hit pan with but not used it in a long time. It's Match Perfection by Rimmel powder because it was a bit dark for me, but now the sun's come out, it's just right. I'm concentrating it in the areas you'd usually contour just to give my face a bit of dimension, but ultimately I'm just using it as a setting powder. Now I'm using my Rimmel matte setting powder under my eyes and the inner portion of my face here because I don't want that to be tanned looking. I want it to be nice and bright, and I'm using a clean fluffy concealer brush from e.l.f. to buff that in. Now I'm going to be using this George shimmer brick, which you get at Asda, and I'm just showing you the colours as I'm using them. I'm going to be using the middle one through the outer 7. Now I've recently watched a video from Sugar Puff and Fluff saying about how hooded eyed girls have an outer 7, not an outer V, and I thought it was brilliant, so I'll link that in the description bar. And I'm just buffing that in with my Real Techniques base shadow brush. And I'm trying to just get it nice and blended and cover up the discoloration on my eyelids. Next I'm using the second from bottom shade all over the lid with my e.l.f. eyeshadow brush which is like a flat paddle brush, and I'm just packing that on as much as possible. All the colours are obviously shimmery, none of them are matte in this palette, so the second one from the top is probably the mattest one in there, so I'm just using that as my highlighter and the inner tear duct and the brow bone, and blending that into the lower lash line so it will blend in with whatever colour I'm going to put on there next. So the bottom one is the darkest of the palette, and I'm just going to be putting that through my crease and then blending that in. I'm using a e.l.f. crease brush for doing that. Then the middle colour, again just under the lower lash line and buffing away there. I'm just cleaning off the crease brush with a little towel there, and I thought I'd show that because I always keep one on hand and I find it really helpful. And going in with the lightest colour, again second one down, that we used as a highlighter, and I'm just using that to give a nice blended look underneath and buff out the other colour we used. Now this is a Barry M waterproof eyeliner, and it's a lovely blue shade, and I'm going to be using that in the lower lash line and also in the waterline. Now I'm not going to be setting this with any powder, mainly because, to be honest, I don't think it needs it, and because I'd have to then go out and look for a blue eyeshadow, and I don't think I'd have one really in that shade. But I'm using my e.l.f. smudger brush just to smudge that out a little bit, and then I'm going back into the waterline to put a second coat in the waterline, which I always do just to set it, and a tiny bit of in the top waterline. Now this Sleek palette, I chose this blush because I thought it was a lovely sunsetty sort of shade. It had reddish undertones, but then when I put it on, I realised that it's just so dark and so pigmented. Even with the lightest hand I couldn't make it work, so I'm using my powder, my original Match Perfection powder, just to buff that away and blend it in. And then I've got my Scandal Eyes mascara. Now if I could do this look over again and record it again, I don't think I would use that blusher. I think I'll only use that when I'm using like a mineral powder foundation, because it'll be easier to blend in. I'm not going to give up on it, I'm going to keep trying with it, but I think when you're using a liquid foundation or cream foundation, it's difficult to get right. And then I'm just putting one last coat in the waterline after my mascara, and that's the eyes done. So I'm going in with my Revlon lip butter. I think this is one in the Juicy Papaya, but I will make sure to link it in the box. I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for watching, and this is the finished look. It's not neat and tidy and or contoured and overdone. It's just sort of a fairly quick and easy weekend day look for summer. So I'll see you next time. Take care everyone. Bye.